All right, everybody, welcome to the video here for the skill check for lessons 1 through 3. So I gave this to you just so you can kind of check your skills at this point. Hopefully you tried it, or at least you tried some of it just to see what you know and don't know, so at least you know if you have questions or not. So for the first question, it tells us that we have an angle such that it falls between 270 and 360. This tells you what quadrant you're in. You're in quadrant 4. It also tells you the cosine value is 5/6. That tells me the adjacent side and the hypotenuse side of my triangle. So let's draw a quadrant 4 angle. So I have this quadrant 4 triangle. The adjacent side is 5. The hypotenuse side is 6. We then have to go through and do the Pythagorean theorem. So we don't know a missing side, so I usually make that A. And we can say, 5 squared is 25. So A squared is 11, or A is the square root of 11, not 111, just 11. Okay. And it wants us to find the sine of theta. So the sine of theta in quadrant 4 is going to be a negative number. Remember, the triangle doesn't help you find out if it's negative or not. And it's going to be the opposite side, so square root of 11 over the hypotenuse of 6. Remember, the angle that we're using here is the one closest to the origin. All right, let's take a look at number 2. Number 2 says that we have an angle, and it's in standard position, and it passes through the point -4, -8. That point is in quadrant 3. Both are negative. Find the exact value of sine and cosine. So we have a quadrant 3 triangle here with sides of 4 and 8. Here we go. Pythagorean theorem, 4 squared plus 8 squared equals c squared. We don't know the hypotenuse this time. So we have 64 and 16, so that's 80. So we have the square root of 80. Now, the square root of 80 can be simplified to 16 and 5. So we have 4 square roots of 5 for my missing side. So when I want to find the sine of theta, I know it's in quadrant 3, so I know it's negative. It's the opposite side over the hypotenuse side. Let's simplify in the directions it does say to simplify all fractions. So if we simplify 8 and 4, it becomes 2. And if we rationalize, we get -2 square roots of 5 over 5. That's my sine value. The cosine value is also negative in quadrant 3. The cosine value is the adjacent side over the hypotenuse. Those 4s are going to reduce to a 1. And the square root of 5s are going to come out here on top and bottom. So we have negative square root of 5 over 5. There is your answer for number 2. Number 3 was a sketching of an angle question. So 500 degrees. Before I really do anything, I need to figure out where does 500 terminate. It's way too big. So I get 240, which is a quadrant 3 terminating angle. So if I make my x and y axis here, I know the initial ray is going to start here, and this is going to turn around once because I subtracted out 360 one time, and then go 240 more, so it's going to terminate somewhere in quadrant 3. It also wants us to find the reference angle. So the reference angle is the angle that references back to 240. What they care about here is what's this angle here. This is the reference angle. How far past 180 does 240 go? So the rule for a reference angle is to take the given angle minus 180. This is for quadrant 3. And the reference angle then becomes 240 minus 180. So the reference angle for this angle is 60. So we found the quadrant, we sketched it, we found the reference angle. We are done. Hopefully you got all those right. If you made a couple mistakes here or there and you still don't understand how to do it, please reach out to me. All right, all this stuff kind of keeps coming up, so we want to make sure that we are good. Other than that, I will see you all soon.